Hello everybody. So during the year leading up to my faith crisis, I was a pretty hardcore fundamentalist creationist Mormon, and during that time I was pretty vocal about my views, and I also made some memes to express my views, and I would like to revisit some of those with you today. So let's have a look at the first one. Some of these aren't really memes so much, some of them are just pictures that I added captions to. So, usually quotes from the scriptures or from modern day prophets, just to prove that this point of view is founded in revelation from God. So the first one says, "Keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called." And that's from 1 Timothy. And the reason I liked this quote was because it said science falsely so called, and that's exactly how I viewed evolution. It was so-called science, but it's not real science. But somehow I don't think that's really what this verse is referring to, because in those days they didn't have the same concept of science. It didn't mean the same thing that it means to us today. So let's have a look at the next one. This is a quote by the First Presidency. I liked this quote because it showed that the Mormon Church and the leaders of the Mormon Church, the prophets who reveal God's will to us, they are on the side of creationism. They have historically taught, and in a way still kind of teach to this day, that Adam was a real person and that there was no evolution. Also, I felt like giving into science meant that I was admitting that God was wrong about something, and I wasn't about to do that. Looking back, I might think, yeah, this is kind of pseudo-scientific and it sounds kind of dumb or whatever, but I was being consistent with my beliefs. I believed that God revealed to us what how He really created the world, and I was willing to follow that, even if it meant I had to deny some of science. So, next meme, also in the creationist genre. "For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day." And that, of course, is from Exodus 20, where God gives Moses the 10 Commandments. As you can see, the whole concept of 6 days, that runs throughout all the scriptures and throughout the Mormon scriptures, and yeah, so that's pretty well established. Okay, here's one where I took a pretty common quote that I saw floating around on the internet that said, "You are the result of 4 billion years of evolutionary success. Act like it." And I thought, you know what's even better? It should say, "You're a literal descendant of God. Act like it." Because in Luke chapter 3, it says that Seth was the son of Adam, and Adam was the son of God. So we are all descendants of God. And leaders of the Mormon Church have stated that we are both the literal and spiritual descendants of deity. And to get that exact, this was the first presidency statement in 1909. It said that evolution is just the theories of men, but the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, basing its belief on divine revelation, ancient and modern, proclaims man to be the direct and lineal offspring of deity. So God is the father of our spirits, and He is also our great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. No, physically. That's kind of how I saw it. Also with this one, if you're jealous and controlling, if you like murder and genocide, then you're already acting like a descendant of God. So please don't act like a literal descendant of God. Okay, here's another one about taking the scriptures literally. "Don't like what it says? That's okay. You can just reinterpret it." Now, with this one, I thought I was being really consistent in my beliefs, because I thought everyone else is reinterpreting the scriptures, but I'm believing what God said. But in reality, even I was reinterpreting the scriptures, because there were certain things that even I couldn't accept. There are verses that say you have to kill gay people, I wasn't about to do that. And so I had to think to myself, that was just for that time, or something like that. Which I'm glad that most people don't go that far with the Bible. But some people do, which is a very sad thing. Okay, now we have our Heartlander memes. The reason I made these memes was because I felt perfectly justified in insisting that the Book of Mormon took place in the heartland of America. That's where Joseph Smith said it happened, and if it didn't happen where he said, then it didn't happen at all. And I still agree with that, but now I identify more with the second option. But here, Joseph Smith says, the Book of Mormon is a record of the forefathers of our western tribes of Indians. So, Joseph Smith was already saying at least who the descendants of, or who the descendants of the Book of Mormon peoples were. And not all Indians, the western tribes of Indians, which in those days, the West was in kind of the Midwest area, the frontier, or maybe around the Mississippi River. The next one says, claims to be Nephite Temple isn't where the Book of Mormon happened. And again, I agree that the Book of Mormon didn't happen there because it didn't happen anywhere. So let's see. Okay, and now we're going into some miscellaneous memes. This one is about a vow. That's sort of a forum website that I have come in contact with, and they have a lot of articles that people post. Usually it has something to do with Heartlander, or not Heartlanders necessarily, although there's probably a lot of Heartlander stuff on there. Usually they have fringe ideas like call out, and I've explained that in another video, but call out is where the prophet calls all the faithful saints out to go live in protected church camps out in the mountains while everyone else is being destroyed or suffering major disasters. This website also has things about like the opening of the seventh seal that I also mentioned in another video. One pretty bizarre story that I heard that I'm pretty sure someone posted on this website was that somebody's daughter was like a journalist and went to a press conference with Barack Obama, and she saw sort of devils standing next to him, and that was a sign to her that he was the Antichrist. So there's a lot of Obama Antichrist kind of stuff there, although I think they might have calmed down about Obama by now. A lot of essential oils kind of stuff. So really right-wing, really kind of fringe fundamentalist kind of stuff on that website. So that's why I wrote, I'm afraid you're mistaken, sir. Okay. This one I thought was kind of funny because I remember reading 1984 in my English class in high school, and of course they're always saying Big Brother is watching, and I remember thinking, you know what, we all have a big brother who really is watching, so Big Brother really is watching. And that's kind of a very Mormon thing to call Jesus Big Brother, because for everyone else he's the creator, and even Mormons believe that he's the creator, but Mormons also believe that he is a spiritual son of Heavenly Father, the first one who was born, and then all the rest of us were born. So he's spiritually our big brother in heaven, or in the premortal life. Okay, speaking of the premortal life, here is a picture from one of those Book of Mormon comics. I don't know if this was specifically the Book of Mormon, but one of the Mormon comics about the scriptures includes something about the premortal life, and I thought that was the perfect opportunity for Mr. Willy Wonka to say, "You get nothing, you lose. Good day, sir." And for this one I said, the more Christ-like you are, the more the world will want to persecute you, or rather will want to crucify you. Looking back on this one, I used to see persecution where there really was no persecution happening. I used to think every time someone criticized our religion that was persecution, but now I just see that as free speech. We should be able to discuss ideas that we believe in and criticize ideas that we think are either not true or that might even be harmful. This one I got from Key and Peele, a little quote from Key and Peele on the bottom, and on top I have something from the New Testament where I can't remember who he is, the emperor or somebody, the local government leader says, "What is the reason for this hope which is in you?" And that's just the golden question that every religious believer wants to be asked. I'm glad you asked. And this one I made to make the argument that we should believe in the Constitution, that America is special. Because in the Doctrine and Covenants, Jesus says, "I established the Constitution of this land." And that says it right there. So America is a very special place in Mormon doctrine. And I used to think, how could liberals or how could Mormons ever be liberal? Because I used to think conservative is where you believe in the Constitution, and then liberal is where you want to change the Constitution. Now I've realized liberals aren't really trying to change the Constitution. There's the Second Amendment that liberals might want to revise and say maybe not everyone should have a gun. Maybe it should be a little more strict than it is now. But even then, that's not really repealing the Second Amendment. But even if it was, amendments have been repealed. So if the amendments are revelation along with the rest of the Constitution, then why did God change his mind on the 18th Amendment? Because the 18th Amendment marked the beginning of the Prohibition era, and the 21st Amendment marked the end of the Prohibition era. So 18th Amendment said no drinking, and then 21st Amendment said, okay, you can drink under certain circumstances, when you're 21 years old. So did God change his mind about that, or are the amendments not part of the revealed Constitution? Or is it only amendments 1 through 10? Or what is it? So how much of it is actually revealed by God? At least as much as was present in 1840 or whenever this was written. So okay, looks like that's my last meme. I hope you enjoyed the memes that I made when I was a religious fundamentalist creationist Mormon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.